I'll miss you, my friend. What is up, guys? Branon Chan here, and today we're gonna talk about the new TCG ban list and how it affects Atlantean Mermail. Not gonna lie, I miss Bahamut Shark.
It was perfect. Perfect.
But I think it was a fair hit. Having such an easy access to Toadally Awesome was very broken. It not only helped us having access to Toadally Awesome, but it helped us triggering Dragoons as much as we wanted to. And I know a lot of you guys are thinking the deck is dead. So after sitting with it for a bit, testing things out, let me tell you, the deck still cooks. Two big disclaimers. Number one, this is only my first take. Things will definitely evolve. Right now, people are experimenting with a lot of different routes. People are using different engines like the Ice Barrier, the Icejade, Frog, Gishki, Ghoti, and so on. So don't take this as the only way to play the deck. There's a lot of creativity happening and I'm here for it. So people, please don't stop cooking. Like, keep continuing trying to find new ways to play the deck. So what I'm gonna show you guys today is what I have found that is currently working. This led me to disclaimer number 2. There is a lot of people working on new builds right now. After I saw the ban list, I texted my boy Steve Klaus just to see his thoughts about the ban list. He's just an incredible mind when it comes to Atlantean Mermail. And then I got this message at 12 a.m. in the morning and he was like, at first I thought this deck was worse and unplayable, but after thinking for a couple of hours, I think this will be one of the best deck till Alliance Insight. Which honestly, I agree 100%. Remember that the power level of all the meta decks was decreased by a fair amount. Our deck stays really strong going second. Plus now we don't have to deal with Dweller nor Shifter. I just think this is a huge advantage to our deck. We'll still have Minstrel, we'll still have Molding Glacier, we still have strong endboard pieces like Changing, Icejade, Lancia, Barrier Statue, and so on. So with that being said, let's go over what I think is the current best way to approach the deck. It may seem counterintuitive because I'm not a big fan of this card, but I think Coelacanth is more important now than ever. Even before the ban list, I was already testing without Bahamut Shark or Toad or Molding Glacier. And honestly, I found that going all in Deep Sea King Coelacanth Turbo was actually the move. The goal became simple. Just do our GTA cheat code, flood the board with fishes, and combo off. Without Toadally Awesome, we needed an easy way to set up multiple interruptions. So that way, if our opponent has something like Droplet, they need to discard at least 2 cards to get through everything. And remember, we already ripped 2 cards from their hand with Molding Glacier. The fact that we can only play through Nip by doing Minstrel means that we need to prioritize Minstrel as soon as possible. I also accepted the fact that Neptabis alone, without any other water, cannot play through Nep. But with only 1 water in hand, you can actually Minstrel them first, resolve Coelacanth, and combo off. And without Toad, putting a very oppressive board that is very hard to out, it's difficult to do without Coelacanth. Also, the deck becomes a Floodgate Turbo deck. Whether you're playing the Ice Barrier monster in the main deck, or the Barrier Statue, I think one of them is mandatory. So yeah guys, at first glance, Coelacanth might be the key piece the deck needs moving forward. And of course, I like to back up things with proof and testing. I have been playing some Dueling Book, and of course doing some misplays every here and there. At the time, I was playing 40 cards, no Coelacanth, just to explore new builds. And I ended up facing a very strong opponent called Tropi, I think it is. Definitely not an easy name, but he beat me 2-1. And the second we started playing, I noticed, yo, this guy is legit. He is currently ranked number 1, number 2 player on DB, which sure, I know, the ladder just started, the ratings are kinda low, but still is very impressive. And get what he was playing. Water, but not just water, Coelacanth Turbo. So Tropi, just a couple of things. Explain your name, and also, never stop playing water. Keep cooking. I'll be watching you. Also yesterday, I spent a couple of hours testing with my boy Diego. He was playing Odeon and I was playing Atlantean Mermail. I tested both, the build with and without Coelacanth. Honestly, I didn't win a single game using the pure version, but with Coelacanth, I won every single match. Also, Dual Evolution just uploaded a video playing with the new ban list, and he opted to play Coelacanth Turbo as well, which makes me confirm that this is probably the route to take. With all this, I just want to say the deck is still very playable and strong. It might just become a little bit more bricky, but like my boy Steve said, we'll have to see how the deck performs post Alliance Insight. Mostly because the power level of some decks will increase by a lot. So let's say for example right now the power level is here, and post Alliance Insight some decks will be just boosted up here, and Atlantean Mermail would not have any support soon, so it'll be a little bit tough to compete. Also remember that for some reason, well, we all know the reasons, Konami didn't touch any Fiendsmith cards, so that engine will still be very busted. Now let's go over the deck profile, which to be honest with you guys, I don't think it is that innovative, but this is by no means the final product. I just want to give you guys my take on the key cards that I think you all should consider when building it. Alright, please remember guys, this is by no means the final product. This is something that is currently in the work and it requires a lot of testing. We're gonna start off with the standard, mandatory 3 Neptavis, 3 Goons, 2 Poseidra, 1 Infantry, 3 Abyss Teus, which is something I actually cut to 2 in the pure build, but we'll see. 3 Abyss Spikes, 3 Shrine, 3 Squats, 1 Minstrel. I think 2 might be the correct ratio, but we'll see. I like to keep the deck at 43. I'll see what can I take out in order to add 1 more Minstrel. Especially since in this case we are playing the Barrier Statue, we definitely want to Minstrel them first in order to have the Barrier Statue line live. Then we have Molding Glacier. Since I do think it is mandatory mostly because this is my go-to play under Full Wallows. If they Full Wallow me, I do Molding Glacier and try to end on maybe on a Beast Gaius or a Synchro 10. And this is why I also have Lancia and Trishula in the extra deck, because I could consider playing Raihu instead of the Barrier Statue. Mostly because if they Full Wallows me, I can still Rip 2 from their hand and end on Lancia, which if they don't have the out is basically GG's. I'll do a small comparison between the Barrier Statue and Raiho. The thing is that the Barrier Statue is a little bit more consistent and you can special summon it with an Anemone or with a Beast Ride, which is actually really good and it comes up a lot. It also prevents you from getting nipped. There was one time that I was playing against a Malice player that if they don't have, I was going second and I kept the Barrier Statue in the main. So I basically normal summon Barrier Statue, and if they didn't have the Imperm, it was basically GG's, but they had the Imperm. Your opponent cannot activate GWC, your opponent cannot activate Bestials. There is no way to basically special summon Malice monsters from the graveyard. And by the way, when I said more consistent than Raiho, it means that makes the deck more consistent, mainly because it is a level 4 water aqua monster. Then we have Coelacanth and Grithis. You can opt to change your extra fish of choice, but I think Grithis is really good, especially since it is a level 3. So that way you can use Pike and Grithis to go into Monoceros reborn a Beast Pike, and then you can overlay Coelacanth and Monoceros to go into a Beast Ride and pop off. Then we have Icejade Ran, which I think it is better than before, mostly because it provides you with 2 bodies on field, and you can also use it to trigger your Dragoons or your squad. You can not only go straight into a level 10 for example, but you can also use the token and another monster to go into Anemone bring back squad effect, make them level 7 and overlay into a Beast Shrine and continue comboing off. Then we have Pot of Prosperity, which could be changed to a Small World. We'll see, depends. I like to have 1 and 1. And then I do opt to go for a Beasting Triana, and let me explain why. I think this is basically our only card that gives us the grind game. Before it was Toad. Toad can recycle the monster in the graveyard, and you can, let's say for example, if they break your board, once they gave it back to you, you can still comboing off, you're gonna have cards in hand and stuff like that. But now there's no grind game. So I think Triana is the only one that basically you can recycle monsters. You can recycle Triana with King during your opponent's turn, so you have a monster reborn, you can recycle stuff. So it's very, very good in the grind game. I know it is a brick because it is basically not a starter, but I think it is worth trying. Also, there have been times, for example, where I normal summon Neptavis against Blue Eyes and they use the trap to pop Neptavis. I just simply activate the Abyssing, reborn Neptavis, and still try to combo off. So I think it is worth the slot. Then we have 1-for-1 and Small World. The reason I like Small World, and I could consider playing 2, mostly because I played Gamma-Ciel in the side deck. So if 2 Small World means basically 3 Gamma-Ciels, because you can easily search it. And having the options to search a Kaiju is actually really good, especially since you can bounce it back, then Kaiju again, bounce it back again with, let's say for example, the Poseidon XYZ and Kaiju them again is pretty sick. Then we have one triple tactics talent just to help us break the board or rip the nib from your opponent's hand after they draw you or they throw you an ash or something like that. Then I am currently playing a very low hand trap lineup. I am considering only playing the ones that I think are the most impactful ones or the ones that I can use going second. For example, Purulia can give you a couple draws, and since the water deck has so many extenders, you can easily break the board. Dominus Impulse, you can use it to stop the nib going second, which is really good. Fuwalos, everybody knows what Fuwalo does, and then Impermanence, you can use it to negate something on the field and continue comboing off or breaking the board. I decided to side deck the Ashes, mostly for when going first, so I have an out to the Mucharmis, but I don't know, we'll see. The non-engine count could be changed, as well as the engine count, to be honest. I don't want to make the deck count too high, mostly because we do want to see those 2-card combos, those Abyss Teos plus Squad, or we want to see Nepsavis in hand, or we want to see Abyss Spike plus Squad, or Poseidra with Squad, and so on. Also, since we don't have to deal with Dweller nor Shifter, I think we can reduce the non-engine count a little bit. I used to play as closest to 40 as possible just to see the XYZ anchors, or just to see the hand traps in case my opponent shifter me. But now I don't have to even think about that. I can simply focus on breaking the board and that's it. I also opt to side deck triple tactic thrust, especially since it is good going first or second. You can use thrust to get into your talent or even into the 1-for-1 to special summon Nepsavis. You can also use thrust to search for your Feather Duster, which is actually really good. Or you can use thrust to go when going first to set up powerful traps like Deruma Cannon or DDG. Then we have the extra deck. I think the only cards that I think worth mentioning are Snowdust Giant. It came up a couple of times actually when I had Coelacanth plus, let's say, one Abyss Spike and Dragoons on field, and you overlay them and you can actually take advantage of it, detaching Dragoons and having a card in hand just to discard. The fact that we do have to reveal a water kind of sucks, but it's a good utility card to have in the extra deck. I also use Stealth Kraken, not only as an endboard piece and the fact that it can pop a monster and burn half of the attack, but also the fact that it can turn everything into water is actually really good, especially against Fiendsmith. Denying the access to Requiem, because Requiem needs a light Fiend, it's very powerful. Now I think other cards worth mentioning are Lizardos. Lizardos sometimes is good, especially when you do Coelacanth as your last push. You need and you have no cards in hand, but you have 2 bodies on field. You can go into Lizardos, draw a card, and use it as a discard fodder for Coelacanth in order to summon your Abyss Spikes plus Griffiths and continue comboing off. Also, since we are currently playing a Coelacanth Turbo deck, I think it is worth consider playing Abyss Keeper. If in case you want to get rid of your Abyss Keeper to continue linking off, you can basically use Lizardos, remove Abyss Keeper, and let's say go into a Link 3 or an Anemone and stuff like that. I also played Lancia and Trishula, mostly because I think Ryo is a card that could be considered playing. You can change it for a Barrier Statue, or you can even consider playing both actually. Ending on Barrier Statue plus Lancia is very toxic. So I know basically people are considering playing other cards, like let's say for example Frog to get into Toad, or Armor Shark just to have Armor Fortress to detach a Scuss and search something. But I don't know if these cards are worth playing. Another card that I saw people using are Fishboard Launcher, which is really good. I do like this tech choice, but we'll have to see. Like I said before, this is just a rough take on the deck. I think it is just too early to actually say this is the go-to build. This is how you play Atlantean Mermail, because I think there are so many options that you could consider. You could even consider Tidal, or I think I am missing other options in this list as well that I'm not taking into account. But yeah, guys, and that's gonna do it for the first look at Atlantean Mermail post-ban list. I think there's a lot of things to improve and explore. I'm super excited to keep testing and refining the deck. I want to hear it all. I want to hear what are you guys playing. Let me know the tech choices. Are you playing something spicy like the Icejade, Ice Barrier, the Gishki cards? Are you playing Coelacanth or not? I'll try to come back as soon as possible with some replays and some test hands or combo videos. But yeah, guys, until then, keep testing, keep grinding. Like always, hasta la próxima. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe.